Hi everyone, welcome back to Lulumath. This video is on the power of a power. And the background knowledge you'll need for this is you'll need to know how to multiply monomials. So if you need a refresher on that, make sure to catch that video on the YouTube channel or at lulumath.com. You can also find blank notes for this video if you want something to follow along with as we go over this topic. So here we are asked to simplify 2 to the power of 5, all raised to the power of 3. So essentially what I want to do is I want to take 2 to the power of 5, and since it's being raised to the power of 3, that means that I need to multiply it by itself 3 times. So since I'm doing 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 5, we want to remember what the rule is for multiplication. We need to add exponents with like bases. So since our exponents here are 5 and 5 and 5, we are just going to add 5 to itself 3 times, and I end up getting 15. Don't forget that your base stays the same, because essentially, you can see here we have 5, 5, and 5 more sets of 2, but they're all sets of 2, so our base will still be 2. So my answer here would be 2 to the power of 15. Now, if you are asked to figure out 2 to the power of 5 raised to the power of 100, you would not be expected to write this out 100 times. So since our exponents were 5, and then we had the whole entire expression being raised to the power of 3, and we ended up getting to the power of 15, make a conjecture. What do we do with this 5 and this 3 to get that 15? Let's try another example and see if your conjecture is correct. So I would take x to the power of 2, and then I would raise that to the power of 6. So what this means is I'm going to do x to the power of 2, multiply it by itself 6 times. And since the rule is to add our exponents with our like bases, and our base would still stay as an x, I would add 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and that would give me 12. But if my exponents were 2 and 6, x to the power of 2, all being raised to the power of 6, what's the shortcut? How am I getting that 12? Just like here, we had 5 and 3. What's the shortcut? How am I getting that 15? And as you can see, it's repeated multiplication, but when we multiply, we add our exponents. So essentially, all we did was we took this 5 and we tripled it because it happened 3 times. So we just did 5 times 3. Here, we just took this 2 and we multiplied it by 6 because this is happening 6 times. Now we're going to build our way to a little bit more complicated expressions. So this is saying a to the power of 2, b to the power of an invisible 1, c to the power of 5, all being raised to the power of 3. So all I'm doing is I'm going to take a to the power of 2, b, c to the power of 5, and multiply it by itself 3 times. So don't forget though, we can only add our exponents for like bases. So here we have to the power a to the power of 2, a to the power of 2, and a to the power of 2. So when I add those together, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Here we have b to the power of 1, b to the power of 1, b to the power of 1, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And then lastly, we have c to the power of 5, c to the power of 5, c to the power of 5, and 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. So to get this 6, we did 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 2 times 3. To get this 3, we did 1 plus 1 plus 1, or 1 times 3. And to get this 15, we did 5 times 3. So essentially, all we have to do is make sure that the exponent on the outside of a monomial gets multiplied to all the exponents on the inside of my bracket. All right, our next example is where things get a little bit harder. This is a common place where there are a little bit of some conceptual misunderstandings. So we want to make sure that you fully understand how to do this question. So again, we take everything on the inside of my brackets, 2y to the power of 7, and that's all being raised to the power of 6. So what this is saying is I take 2y to the power of 7 and I multiply it by itself 6 times. Now we have to be really important at this step because this 2 that we have in front here and these 2's are all coefficients. So the rule is different for the coefficient because it's just like a normal number as opposed to the rule that applies to an exponent. So we literally need to raise 2 to the power of 6. So here, when I multiply 2 by 2, I get 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 2 is 16, and then 16 times 2 is 32, and then 32 times 2 is 64. So my coefficient is 64, and again, we get that 64 by raising this 2 to the power of 6 right here. And then here, I'm just going to take y to the power of 7, and it's being done 6 times. So when I add 7 to itself 6 times, or I just do 7 times 6, I get 42. And we get this by multiplying 7 by the exponent of 6. We multiply our exponents together here. And this is our final answer. Now, some common mistakes that are made. The first common mistake that people will make is add 7 plus 6 together. But the reason why this does not work is because we are raising a power to a power, so we have to multiply our exponents. We're not multiplying bases where we would add exponents. So it's the difference between y to the power of 7 raised to the power of 6 that gives us y to the power of 42 versus y to the power of 7 times y to the power of 6, which gives us y to the power of 13. Another common mistake that people will make is in the coefficient, and they'll say the coefficient is 2 times 6, but that's incorrect. Because 2 is also being raised to the power of 6. Everything inside of the brackets here is being raised to the power of 6. So these are some things I just would like you to be aware of. So based on that, I would like you to try this next one. 5x to the power of 8, all raised to the power of 3. Pause, try it on your own, come and see how you did. So you should end up getting 125x to the power of 24. If you got that right, please skip forward through this explanation. And if you didn't, that's totally fine. That's how we learn, by making mistakes and understanding our mistakes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the comments below or at lulumath.com. So here's the explanation. 5x to the power of 8 is being raised to the power of 3. So what that means is I have to take 5x to the power of 8 and multiply it by itself 3 times. Now, when I multiply 5 times 5 times 5, again, these are just coefficients. 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. And then when we multiply, we should add our exponents. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. So this 125 came from 5 to the power of 3, and this 24 came from multiplying our exponents, which means we'll multiply 8 times 3, and we get 24 here. And sorry, here this gives us 125. So in conclusion, to raise a power to a power, we have to multiply the exponents. Also, if an expression being raised to a power has a coefficient, make sure to raise that coefficient to the power as well. But there is no specific exponent rule for that. It is just basic evaluation of numbers. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, please make sure to reach out in the comments below or at lulumath.com, where you can find blank or completed notes for this video. If you found this video to be useful, please make sure to subscribe and share with others. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.